how are big corporate houses trying to deal with all the massive geopolitical uncertainty that's playing itself out the world over? Joining us now, one of the icons of India industry, Sunil Bharti Mittal. Thank you very much, Mr. Mittal, for joining us. You know, what I love about the fact is that you're so out and about, trying to find out what's happening, wrapping your head around all the geopolitical issues. Donald Trump was here in Davos. What did you make of his speech? And you were among the few Indian businessmen who actually had an opportunity to be part of a meeting with him. How was that?
Predictable. I think everybody expected him to be going off script, and which he did. I think there's too much noise, and as Secretary Besant said, don't react to noise. Keep your calm, things will get better. I believe that. In the end, US is an important part of the world, one of the most economically powerful, militarily powerful nation. But it is still a democratic nation where if things go completely out of hand, things will start to come back. What is important is for the world to know the old world order has certainly shifted. Now, where will it land up? What new institutions will come through it? But something has to give now. Europe will have to come together as a voice. No more fragmented Europe and together through Brussels. It doesn't work. Have one voice. You can't have a situation where two leading heads of state have a strong reaction and two say, no, we must compromise. It doesn't work. Europe in the next 10 years would have made their own arrangements on defense, on security, on intelligence sharing, on satellites, GPS, but it will take 10 years. They have been, if I may say, Europe has been on a vacation. And when you come back from a vacation, you can either be very charged up to do things, or you could be in a lazy mode, not do much. What Trump has done is, I think, shake them up very hard. I think Europe is acting now.
Is there a method in the madness that you see, or do you only see madness?
There's a method. There's a method. Ask for the moon, settle for the stars.
How should India be dealing with Donald Trump, given the fact that he actually did impose the tariffs? You know, in the case of Greenland, now he's pulled back against Europe, but in India, he's stuck with the tariffs. Kabhi-kabhi bolta rehta, aur badha dunga, and he's giving all kinds of threats. What's your sense as a corporate leader, how the country should be dealing with Donald Trump?
I would say India has dealt well, although I know there's a lot of people who criticize India could have done this, India could have done that. You know, as I mentioned, I'm in the world of business, but I am also a student of geopolitics. I personally feel India has done well by keeping quiet, not reacting to the noise. Our leadership has had a lot of, calm, approach towards the whole issue. They engage. Foreign Minister Jaishankar, Piyush Goyal at every level. I had a chance to meet Secretary Howard Lutnick yesterday. You can see that underlying things are moving now. India is focused on the EU deal. Hopefully next week the EU deal should get inked, which is a really
How significant do you think that is? Ursula von der Leyen called this the mother of all deals. How significant would an India-EU free trade agreement be?
I think it'll be big, because EU needs a big country. China is not the natural choice. US is in a difficult situation. India, with 1.5 billion people, becomes a continent for Europe to have access to. And equally, over $25 trillion economy that EU jointly is meaningful for India. I would say this will be a good cushion for India and also gives it strength to negotiate with the US better.
What are you making of all the turbulence in the India-US trade negotiations? We're hearing all kinds of rhetoric. The other question that's now being asked in Davos is there any purpose in Delhi and DC having a deal, given that Donald Trump could a few weeks, months, years later change his mind like he's done with the EU, you work so hard on getting to the finishing line and the guy could change his mind?
Yeah, but India-EU deal, when it happens, it will be done.
Not India-EU. I'm asking you about India-US deal and the trouble that we are facing.
No, but I think once the deal is done, I think it gets settled. I don't think so it'll get reopened between India and US. You can still see that Darustai, US has called India back onto the table on the strategic semiconductor piece.
Pax Silica.
Yeah. So Pax Silica, you have come onto the space program, the critical technologies, the CET, which was established, is being reinvigorated. India has receded on buying oil from Russia, which was irritating the US. And of course, few issues on pulses and agriculture and those things on the margin, where India may relent a little bit, but largely it cannot. I think America understands that. And my own view is it will get settled. It's a matter of now maybe a couple of months.
But how do you think India should be dealing with the ego and the arrogance of Donald Trump? You heard what Secretary Latnik said, ki phone nahi aaya, and then by then it's too late, etc. So you now are not just dealing with the trade negotiations, the commas, the full stop, the minutiae. You're also dealing with the personality of Donald Trump and his team.
Well, we have seen flattery can only get you that far. Europe has been doing that for a period of time, and we know where it's landed. So I think India is having the right approach, respectful, balanced, and yet you need to be a proud Indian. You need to be proud of your own strengths and country. In the end, it's got to be a win-win deal, because you cannot have a situation where you keep giving in, because if there is no end to it, it's better to stop early than later.
How are you as a corporate leader, and from what you're finding out from other business houses, dealing with the uncertainty that Donald Trump brings? Because you're not just trying to keep pace with business developments, economic numbers, you're also just trying to find out what's going on in the world, and that keeps changing every hour.
Yeah, but what does that do for us as a business community? Faster reforms. We saw the GST reform come through very quickly. Labor reform. In fact, the labor reform means paying more to the workers, which is great news because it gets the circular sort of economy going. People have more money, they can buy more stuff. So my business brethren, my community should welcome that. I think that's settled as well. Then you're seeing now tax reforms coming through. I'm hoping in the upcoming budget, there should be further ease of doing business, further tax reforms.
In what specific way?
I think tax code itself, which has been simplified a few times, should be done more. The corporate laws, where Mr. Vaishnav said a lot of rules and regulations have been simplified, a lot of laws have been decriminalized. I think all those things need to be accelerated. More PLI, more incentives for Indian industry. In the end, why did China get away with what they got away? Despite all the pushback, their trade has gone up. India needs to strengthen itself economically, militarily. And I think that's where the government is focused on. I remain very confident that in every crisis, you have opportunities. India and Indian leadership is seeing an opportunity in this world-wide chaos that we are seeing. Strengthen Indian industry, thereby Indian economy, to a better leverage in dealing with the world.
Do you think China is emerging stronger through this tumult and chaos that Trump is unleashing on the world?
It is. It is. Everybody, you saw Mark Carney go to China, sign a deal. You are seeing Europe reconnecting. Because in the end, Russia is not the alter ego power. It is China today, very clearly. And technologies, in size, scale, manufacturing, EVs, you name it, everything. So I think the chaos has favored China because they were ready to take advantage.
Let's spend some time talking about the telecom sector back home and the developments that are taking place. And as a consumer, a lot of chatter around 6G in the Indian context, and when it comes, what it means, how do consumers benefit, and when does it start?
Look, with every generation of technology, you get higher speed and more capacity, lower latency. I mean, these are the three powerful elements. From 2G to 5G, that's where we have come. Today, you can do so much more stuff on your phone than you could ever do in the 2G era. With 6G, it becomes a completely new ecosystem where machines are talking to each other, where cars are talking to each other. I mean, it's a fully connected world. Latency is going to be super low, 10, 15 millisecond, which means robotic surgery. If there's a bleed during a robotic surgery remotely, things can be fixed very quickly. Space technology, data centers going up into space, lesser requirement of energy, energy efficiencies. And then you strap on top of that AI, and you know how things are going to play out. Robotics, millions of robots working all over the world, connected onto the 6G network. So 6G standard is going to produce lower latency, significantly higher speeds, and more capacity. And above all, very precise slicing of network. If you are doing something which is very critical, your service quality will be very different individually for that particular connection than the millions of the rest of the users who are doing YouTube or something else.
And finally, on reform, the government has introduced a whole slew of reform on the back of the tariffs. Obviously, they got into action. Beyond what we've seen on GST, beyond what we've seen so far on land reforms, what would you like to see, Mr. Mittal?
I would say, one, the overall environment on ease of doing business. Now, government has done extremely well. A lot more needs to be done. I think the...
what specifically would you
So
like?
if you look at the Gauba committee that has been set up, that's precisely with this background, that go through the entire plethora of how Indian businesses are impacted through government interactions, the way companies interact with variety of departments of the government, land acquisition, power availability, certain approvals on environment and all that. I think all these need to be, and we as CII, FICCI, other chambers, industry, need to go and make a presentation. There are many areas where we need to see reform. One area which is outside the business control is if somehow we can get unanimity amongst political parties to have one nation, one election.
I saw you're a big champion of this one nation, one election.
Because I tell you,
आपको तो election में मजा आता है?
नहीं,
एक करा दो तो हम क्या करेंगे फिर?
आपको अगर 5 साल में एक ही बार मिला तो प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगी.
बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगी.
But not for that. I'm telling you, for the sake of nation, that really disrupts a lot of things. Decision making, large projects get stalled. You can not imagine how much energy is wasted. In April, there are a few more elections. I mean, every few months, you can't be in an election mode. We need all of us, the government and the citizens and private sector, to be focused on building a country.
Okay, we'll leave it over there. Thank you very much. I hope you have a safe journey back, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot. Thank you.